announced that the big one is coming very soon. And he has urged all his citizens all over the Middle East, all over the Gulf nation, including Israel, that they should find a way to vacate all those countries immediately, because the big one is about to come. Meanwhile, America B-1 and B-2 fighter jets, just like the one they used to go and bomb the 12 days war, when they go bomb where Iran was having a lot of chemical to produce atomic bomb. The same B-1 and B-2 has gone to Iran severally to destroy all their nuclear weapon site, all their ballistic missiles weapon site, all where they are piling their uranium that they want to use to manufacture atomic bomb. A B-1 and B-2 has done the job very, very well. They have destroyed all those strikes. In fact, they have struck all those places, destroy all those ammunition, destroy all those facilities. Now, America has also destroyed 11 marine ships, 11 marine ships of Iran. The one that Iran sent to the Strait of Hormuz to be destroying all the ships they pass, they enter every other country. So Iran be saying they will use that place as strategy to destroy the whole world, but they lie. American fighter jets, which is B-1, B-2, was stand by to destroy all those ships. They destroy all the marine ships. They all sink under the sea. And the worst part of all is that the Iranian warship that was manufactured last year, they just inaugurated it, they celebrated it, they manufactured it, they said, yes, this is our warship. It's big, but it's not as big as the American Abraham Lincoln. Meanwhile, America is saying that the biggest one is about to happen. We don't know what is the next now, because as we know today, the meeting where they were gathering, having meeting to select, in fact, they said they have even started the vote itself. According to the news, they said they have even started the voting of who is going to be their next supreme leader. When Israel just carried bomb, go hit them, hit their chest, for where they just gather, finish all of them, about 80-something of them has been killed. So Iran now is left without leader, and the military is left without control, because nobody is controlling them anymore. The first military command was killed. The second military command was killed. IGROC command military was also killed. And anyone where they recruit, they will still kill them. So before we continue, let's listen to the big one that Donald Trump said is about to come. That it is not yet, because America said this war is going to last for more than 1 month. Let's listen to it.
Well, the war between Israel and Iran is rapidly escalating. Iran is now striking American diplomatic sites in the region, and the U.S. is warning all U.S. citizens to leave.
President Trump said the fight could last more than a month, and he promised even stronger strikes, saying the big one is coming soon. Our Middle East correspondent Joshua Swanson has the story.
The conflict between Israel and Iran continues to expand, with American forces and diplomatic sites now directly in the crosshairs. Iran hit the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia's capital of Riyadh with a drone strike early Tuesday, causing what Saudi Arabia's defense ministry described as a limited fire and minor damage. It followed an attack the day before on the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait, signaling a widening Iranian response across the region. Iran has attacked targets in a number of other nations, including energy facilities in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. It's also claimed to have closed the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil is shipped. The United States and Israel are intensifying airstrikes inside Iran. President Donald Trump suggested this may only be the beginning of a sustained campaign that could last more than a month. In an interview with the New York Post, Trump refused to rule out sending American troops into Iran if they were necessary. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the U.S. knew Israel was about to strike and joined in a preemptive strike to prevent higher U.S. casualties from an Iranian retaliation. He also said the attack was necessary. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel had no choice, calling the threat from Iran urgent.
After we hit their nuclear sites and their ballistic missiles program, you'd think they learned a lesson, but they didn't, because they're unreformable. So they started building new sites, new places, underground bunkers that would make their ballistic missile program and their atomic bomb programs immune within months.
Trump also said that the largest phase of strikes is still ahead. We haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon. The human toll is rising. U.S. military officials confirmed that 6 American service members have been killed in the first 3 days of the war, including troops killed in an Iranian strike on a base housing American forces in Kuwait. At the Pentagon, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was asked by a CBN reporter about praying for U.S. forces.
As you've said, there are a large amount of U.S. service members that are in harm's way right now. What is your prayer for them?
I know we think about them with every decision that we make and every recommendation that we make to the President of the United States. Those recommendations are made prayerfully. And when I pray every day for them and for this mission, I pray simply for the biblical wisdom to see what is right and the courage to do it.
The U.S. State Department is urging Americans to immediately depart from more than a dozen Middle Eastern countries, including Israel, as the conflict deepens. With American forces now engaged, evacuation warnings in place, and leaders signaling that more strikes are coming, the Middle East stands on the edge. Joshua Swanson, CBN News, Jerusalem.
If Donald Trump said the big one is coming, hey, we should all be expecting the big one in some days, because Donald Trump said even there is going to be possibility of a military boots on the ground. That means everybody has to stay clear, because before Donald Trump will say the big one is coming, I think they're targeting where they have their military. Yes, that's what I think. Where they have their militaries and where they have their ammunition. Those ones that I showed yesterday. Nobody knows the big one America is talking about. Let's watch and see, because they are always filled with surprises. Let's see the surprise Donald Trump is going to give us in the coming days. I will be back.
In this section, I will start by showing you what it means to be ejected from a fighter jet when there is an accident or when the fighter jet is being shot down for any reason. Many of you can still recall the United States of American fighter jet that were shot down in Kuwait by the Kuwait defense system, thinking it was the enemy. Those crew members, the 6 of them, I think, successfully ejected from that very fighter jet. And they are in stable condition, according to the relevant report from the United States of American Central Command. So, I mean, after I saw this very video, I was saying to myself, I'm not going to be a military officer, I'm not going to be a soldier. Because one thing is very certain. Once there is an incident, a crash, you don't need to negotiate within your mind. It is either you eject and eject to safety, or you become part of the debris, part of the crash. You become part of the fire that will burn to the ground. So it is a very risky, very delicate job to be a soldier, whether in Nigeria, whether in the United States of America, whether in Israel, any part of the world. Especially when you now work with a country with capacity like the United States of America, where you can be deployed anywhere, anytime on a mission. And it is also important to highlight that the Israeli Defense Force has released a statement saying that there are 30 female soldiers that are currently part of the campaign, the military airstrikes going on in Iran. In fact, looking at all of these things, I salute every gallant soldiers across the world who are making their countries, proud. And most importantly, the United States of American soldiers and that of the Israel. Israel is a very small country. Whether you like it or not, Israel has been living in fear and threat, existential threat for many years. If not for one reason or the other, military capacity and some other things we may not be able to explain, Israel by now would have been in extinction. I mean, you can take that to the bank. You know what I mean? You know how it happens when you were growing up. Anybody will go feel beat. If you reach for school, you go to find the person in trouble because you know say you go feel beat them. That is how it happens in complex society when it comes to country affairs. You know what I mean? More so, it is now a public information that the war going on in the Middle East between Iran Israel, in collaboration with the United States of America, is becoming interesting by the day. To say it the way it is, it's becoming very severe. Yes, a lot has happened in the last 24 hours and continues to happen. But one thing you must, take to the bank from this very section is that there is a lot of propaganda going on. Yes, we have seen a video clip, trending currently that Dubai International Airport has been set on fire. These are all AI generated videos. We saw some that was trending earlier that Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, was also set on fire. These are all AI videos. But here are the issues. United States of American government under the leadership of Mr. Donald J. Trump has issued a very strong warning to all American citizens living in the Middle East to evacuate as a matter of urgency, using commercial means because of safety risk. Whether you live in Oman, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai, any part of the Middle East, he has urged the American citizens to leave as soon as possible. In view of this, the Russian government under the leadership of Mr. Putin has equally started evacuating the Russian citizens out of the Middle East. As we speak, about 84 Russian citizens have been securely, including 38 children, securely evacuated from the Middle East through Egypt. They have landed in Moscow and they are currently returning to safety in their own home country. Why is all of these things going on? Like I said, Donald Trump has maintained categorically that United States of America is going to avenge the death of their 6 service members. Currently, the scores of American soldiers that have lost their lives so far is currently counted to be 6 persons, while in Israel, I think it's still less than 20 persons, and in Iran, scores continues to go up. Even though some are saying it is not going up. But one thing you will have to realize at this material time is Iran has inflicted pains across, partner countries in the Middle East, partner countries to United States of America, to Israel, as well as, some other places that does not have, serious alignment with the West. A typical example, the drones that were fired by Iranian Revolutionary Guard, were intercepted by United Arab Emirates, by Dubai. And then during the course of that very interception, the Fujairah oil storage facility, some of the oil storage vessels were set on fire. And it's a very delicate situation at the moment because the Strait of Hormuz is currently being closed out after Iran targeted some of the oil tankers transporting oil across this very Strait of Hormuz. If you haven't watched my last videos to understand the role of Strait of Hormuz, what it does is one of the singular passageway, at the Persian Gulf. It's a passage between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. As a matter of fact, that same passage connects Iran, Dubai, and Oman. So it's the singular passage that allows every oil dealers within the Persian Gulf to transport their oil. It's a very narrow passage that leads into the ocean, into the open ocean that allows oil tankers to transport their oil to the rest of the world. So while it is being closed, Dubai still has opportunity to transport their oil through the Fujairah oil storage facility. Oil tankers will just go there and load their oil and then start going out for delivery. So, but now that some of the oil facility is currently under fire, depending on the severity, how much of them that will undergo serious fire crisis, it may also delay or stop United Arab Emirates from transporting their oil. So times are very difficult. It's becoming very severe. Oil prices is expected to surge at a very high rate at this material time. However, we must also understand that United States of American government from their own side is focusing more. They have deployed B-1 and B-2 bombers, and their focus is usually on the ballistic missile facilities of Iran. Wherever they have their ballistic missile facilities, focusing on their launchers, on their missile launchers. As we speak, the 11th naval warship of Iran has been successfully sunk by the United States of American forces, stationed at the Persian, at the Gulf of Oman. So it is a very delicate time. What Iran is doing currently, because their military work in a decentralized manner in cells. So probably here and there, they may still have some missiles left that they are still firing, as well as their drones. You know what I mean? So they will continue to do this, obviously, according to speculations of some experts, while the United States of American government is focusing more on decapitation of this Iranian Revolutionary Guard, to make sure that they no longer have the ballistic missile capabilities as well as other missiles to fire. You know what I mean? So, and why it is becoming very, realistic to a very large extent that Iran is likely to lose this war, because of the pains Iran has inflicted on members of other, Gulf nations, other Arabic nations within the Middle East. Many of them are consequently forming alignment with the United States of America and with Israel, which will certainly happen in the coming days, because the more damages this Iranian Revolutionary Guard, inflict on some of these countries like United Arab Emirates, like Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has also made a press briefing that they are going to, do the wars at the end of the day, including Kuwait. So a lot is going to happen, and the United Kingdom currently is negotiating on deploying their Royal Naval Warship, which has 45 destroyer, with HMS Duncan down to Cyprus. So at the end of the day, you will find out that Iran has a lot of people to battle with. And when you look at it critically, you will be able to say, if you want to be honest, that the chances of them surviving the coming days and weeks may not be realistic. Even though Donald Trump has equally maintained that this war will not be more than 4 weeks, that is the target, and by the end of 4 weeks, that they would have successfully decapitated the Islamic regime of Iran, as well as the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. So, but that notwithstanding, one thing we must take to the bank again is that actions and reactions will always be equal but opposite. Iran will fight to survive. Iran will fight to prove a point. But you must understand that at the end of the day, they may not be able to, prevail, as many are speculating. But one thing we must also not take for granted is the fact that Iran has stockpiles of ballistic missiles. At this material time, we cannot tell. Intelligence report has not been able to give an estimation how much of their ballistic missiles that is left, as well as other rockets. So it's going to be a very dicey time. Obviously, whether you like it or not, more lives will be lost, more properties will be destroyed. Israel, the Hezbollah terrorist organization, has joined the fight, siding with Iran, and they've started launching rockets. So Israel has equally started launching attack on the Hezbollah, and a lot is going on. Video clips started trending also when Israel launched attack on the headquarters of Iranian Revolutionary Guard. So, like I said, it's going to be attack and counter-attack, attack and counter-attack. But at the end of the day, we all shall live to see it all. My only advice to the world at large is, we must say no to terrorism. That is what I have stood for, whether in my home country, Nigeria, or elsewhere. We must say no. Countries must begin to spend money to make their economy boom, make their economy attractive to better the lives of their citizens in and out of season, instead of spending billions of dollars in acquiring arms and ammunition. This is totally crazy. I must be very honest with you. Just like Israeli Prime Minister said, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, that North Korea is 50 times of Iran. They have nukes, but you will never hear them make noise about it, or even go as far as chanting death to America, death to Israel, and all of that. So, just like I said earlier, the moment you allow some of these dangerous weapons to get into the hands of the radical Islamic terrorist group, that might be the end of civilization. That might be the end of humanity. Because these persons don't think. You see how they unalive people in Nigeria. They don't have conscience. They don't have a second thought before unaliving people. So we will continue to follow the happenings in the Middle East cautiously, and continue to pray in my heart personally that peace returns as soon as possible. At this point, I will allow you guys to be the judge. Don't forget to let me know what you think in the comment section, and share this video. Man, another person, Siam. God bless you.